Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So I told you, in the previous video, I believe I did. I don't know if I didn't, whatever. I loaded up a lot of rounds to head out to the range over the weekend and do some more testing with 338 Lapua Mag, some 6.5 Creedmoor. I wanted to throw a few more rounds downrange with it. What else? And some 30-06. Also, I tried 308. I'm struggling on 308. I mean, let's just talk about that to get it out of the way right off the bat. These are some 308 groups out of the FNAR. Now, this one, don't pay attention to that one, okay? Because that one is deceptively, it looks good. It's only 3 shots. That's because the 4th shot was way off the paper. So, yeah, so it was just, it was all around ugly again. My brother had mentioned possibly crimping, trying a crimp on the 308 rounds to see if that would, have any improvement. It is a semi-auto weapon, which, you may need to put a crimp on those rounds due to the bullet moving in the magazine because of the action. So I did that, and similar results to what we had seen previously. Now, I did not try Varget with these loads. If we'll go back and look, so back to, I love these big sheets of paper, by the way. These are giant Post-it notes, believe it or not. These big white sheets of paper. You can buy the big Post-it note boards that people write on or whatever, and so they stick. So they've got the adhesive on the top, which works out great at the range that I go to over at Swan Creek in Athens, Alabama. They've got new targets set up. They actually set, I guess Alabama Game and Fish or whatever, they set up the targets. And so these stick right to it. It's the perfect size. And then I just throw a little tape on the bottom, and it's perfect. I can put a bunch of dots on here and get a lot of shooting done without actually having to go down and check the target all the time and change stuff. So I'm a big fan of these guys. But so this is some 308 that we had shot previously. This was back, and these were more geared toward the concentricity test that I did with the Frankfurt Arsenal versus the Reading T7, I believe it was. So this is really more geared towards that, but this is all Varget right here, right? Starting at 41.4 and working up in 0.2 of a grain increments. I mean, we ran a wide range of charge weights. We had 2 right there, back to back, 42.6, 42.8. Those were the best groups. So far, those have been the best 5-shot groups that we have shot with that rifle to this point. So, and then, I mean, everything else, but you look immediately following that, just 0.2 higher at 43, or you go 0.2 lower at 42.4. I mean, look at what you're seeing. So, just, pretty ugly all around. Yeah, just not that great on the 5-shot groups. And these were with the Spear 180 grain boat tail Spitzer points. So, yeah, I don't know. So, but I ran out of those to test because I loaded up all of them for the concentricity test. So we may come back to that because we had back-to-back groups. If we would have had just one 5-shot group and then the very next one be garbage, kind of like the rest of them, I don't know. But the fact that I put together 2 back-to-back 5-shot groups that were the best groups this rifle has shot so far, that just makes me want to go buy another box of the 180s and try just that narrow range with Varget again, and possibly with a crimp, and see, I don't know, see if we can replicate those results. So that's our 308 so far, and we're having more struggles continue. Now, this is not Varget. This is not the powder. We didn't use Varget. We used AR Comp, and we used Accurate 2520. So, yeah. But more garbage results. These are using these right here, that group, and I believe that group. Yeah, those 2 are the 168 grain Spear gold dots. That's with Accurate 2520. that's a 4-shot group with AR comp. So, I mean, I didn't even shoot the rest of the groups that I had loaded up. It was just, I felt like it was a waste of time. And then these 3 groups were the 150 grain Nosler ballistic tips. So again, the 4th shot was way off the paper. Okay, so it doesn't even matter looking at that group. Yeah, these were loaded with AR comp. Yeah, so there you go. So pretty bad. They were just 4-shot groups. I didn't do 5-shot groups on those. Yeah, so pretty ugly on 308. We're still hacking away at it. It's not necessarily a priority of mine, but it is something. I mean, I want to get a good load developed for that rifle. It's just not necessarily a priority. Not something that I'm, throwing a ton of time and effort into. But to continue on with the results from the day, just, pretty solid results again from 6.5 Creedmoor. I mean, that's just kind of what we've come to expect. The Hornady 143 ELD-X behind 41.8 grains of H4350. So I loaded up, 2 5-shot groups. I had just wanted to throw 10 rounds, a couple of verification groups. Hey, we saw 41.8 up here. It was under 3/4, and with the max charge, according to the Hornady manual, I believe it was. I think that's the max charge, either Hornady manual or Hodgdon, one of the two. And I just wanted to verify that yes, that max charge is a really good performing load for that rifle. Because if it is, then that's what's going to get loaded up, and that'll be some hunting rounds, right? We've already got the 160s loaded up. I've got 20 of those loaded up to hunt with, and I want to try to get a good load for the 140 gold dots and the 143 ELD-X. I would like to get a shot on a deer with all 3 rounds, just to see how they perform in the field, right? Punching paper, we've had some really, really good results punching paper. But it doesn't mean anything until you actually get out in the field and it performs on game. So really good 5-shot groups there. That one came in at under a 1/2 inch, thanks to that guy. And then this one, that's one of the most impressive groups I've shot, 5-shot groups that I've shot in any rifle. It shot really well. But you'll notice my overall length, 2.9. Okay. All right. Up here, when I was doing this testing, it was 2.85. Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty much a DA when it came to that, because I loaded them at 2.9 and didn't even think to check if they would work in the magazine, because guess what? They didn't. So I had to single feed. These 2 groups. Okay. So that's not something that I can even hunt with, even though it's impressive results, right? I mean, some of the best groups we've shot using this bullet, and one of the best groups I've ever shot personally. The problem is that's too long for the magazine. So whatever. So we're gonna dial it back. We're gonna bring it back down. Figure out how we can, at what length can we get it in the mag. I know 2.850 works fine, not a problem at all. But we may do some testing where I extend that a little bit and see how far I can get it, see how close I can get to 2.9 and it still magazine feed. If we see results like this, right, with it stretched out a little bit. So it is what it is, but I'm glad that I saw that, hey, 2.9 single feed, you're going to get amazing results. Just too bad you got a single feed, whatever. Now for the Spear Gold Dots, the 140s. So again, H4350, we put 4 shots, basically knocked the paper out right there, put a nice little hole through the paper, and then we kicked one out to the left. So that was disappointing. Expanded the group quite a bit. That could have been a really good group as well. But its overall length was 2.8, which is 100,000ths over what Spear calls out in their manual. They call out a 2.7 overall length, I do believe. And so we were at 2.8. We stretched it out pretty far, which is basically in that rifle, you're pretty much on the lands close to it, really close to the lands in that rifle. So that was 41.6. Then we went up 41.4, then moved up 41.6. Good results there. If we could just close that down a little bit, yeah, that would have been nice. But still, it measured really well. The spread wasn't that significant, so it ended up measuring really well. Moving on, 41.8. It opened up, almost, over 3/4, so almost an inch there. Opened up, and then 42. I'm not sure what happened here. I am not sure at all. This one threw me for a loop. When I was out there shooting, I couldn't understand what happened there. I mean, almost a 2-inch group. When previously, that's the same load, 42 grains, H4350, and it's coming in under 3/4 of an inch. So something had to have happened. I don't know. They all felt like really good shots, so I cannot explain how we went from under 3/4 MOA to hitting 2 inches at 100 yards. I don't understand that. But so there you go. Still an overall good day though with the 143 and the 140. I felt like we got really good results. 308 pretty disappointing. Next up we'll look at some 338. So we shot some of that as well. Nothing too exciting. We shot the top groups, and I had to make, so this is not point of impact shifts. This is simply, I had to adjust the scope. I mean, I shot my first group with the 300 grain Sierra Match King, and then I followed it up with the 250s. And the 250s, I mean, this was my point of aim, and there was my point of impact. Really, that was it after my first shot. And since I was so close to the group that I shot before it, I just went ahead. I was like, all right, I'm just going to adjust the scope down a little bit, make it a 4-shot group. So that's what I did. So that one's a 4-shot group because I adjusted there. But overall, I'd say just kind of meh, not bad. Under an inch there. Under an inch with the 250s. And then, I don't know what in the world that noise was. A bunch of kids playing outside. Under an inch. And then follow it up under an inch. These were with 250 grain Nosler Accubonds. But then the higher we went up in the charge weight, just sort of nothing great. So down here around the lower end that I was looking at, possibly worth pursuing, using H1000 with the Sierra 300 grain Match Kings. Same thing, H1000, going off their load data. Same thing on the Nosler. I pulled it straight out of the manual. Sierra, same deal, pulled it straight out of the manual. But yeah, I mean, nothing, just had that one that went high that kind of screwed up that group. Same thing here, threw another one high. Group was just kind of opened up a little bit. And then more vertical, even though it was the best group I shot, it was still, I wasn't too thrilled with seeing that vertical dispersion there. And then same thing, another one high. So just underwhelming, really. I mean, nothing to get super excited about. We've got a ton of work to do with the 338. I've got 50 pieces of brass left now to fire form. So we had 300 pieces initially, so we've put 250 rounds through this rifle. Cleaned it really well, cleaned all the rifles really well when I got back. But so I've got 50 more pieces to fire form, and then after that we can actually start really focusing on some load development. Right now we're just trying to figure out, okay, maybe powder bullet combination, something to possibly explore in the future. Really focus on fire forming and get all that done. So more work to be done on 338. 30-06, so working on the load for my dad. I hate shooting this rifle, by the way. It sucks. I'd rather shoot 338 all day long versus this 30-06. It's a Ruger American. Go back, watch the video. Ruger American in 30-06, just a cheap synthetic stock thing. Probably don't weigh 6 pounds, 6.5 pounds, and it just punches you right in the face every time you shoot it. So yeah, I hate shooting it. But it's got a little 3 to 9 by 40 scope on there, just a cheap, I think, Conus scope, or Cronus, whatever brand that is. But with this one, we're going to go with the Nosler 150s. So this bullet powder combination, it didn't do terrible. Toward the top end, it did. I mean, it definitely opened up. But these are the Nosler 150 grain ballistic tips, and we're using Reloader 19 powder. On the bottle, it says, you know, great powder for 30-06 and 338. So kind of hard to go wrong with a powder that calls out the exact round you're loading for. But we did start, you know, with the max and then work backwards in half grain increments. So we had some of our better performers down here, you know, on the lower end of what we tested. So we may even go a little bit lower than this, just to see if that trend continues. We may work, you know, in between this range. We had that one that kicked out, you know, and then you put 4 in there pretty tight. So that could have been a really good 5-shot group, but, you know, it is what it is. It ends up being 2 inches. So we may go back and possibly explore, you know, maybe start down here at 58.5 and work up to 59.5 and do maybe 0.2 of a grain increment jumps just to explore that range there and see if we can really dial in a consistently sub MOA load. Because at the end of the day, again, it's a 3 to 9 power scope. It's a hunting rifle. You know, my dad's not going to go out and shoot this a ton at the range. I'm going to identify, you know, around an MOA, pretty much a 1-inch group is what we're targeting. If we can do that consistently, I'm going to load him up 50 rounds of that, and that'll be his hunting ammo, and he should be good to go for however long he plans on hunting and shooting that rifle. I mean, he should be squared away. So that's really the goal there, and I feel like we've got the bullet powder combination now on that one, so we're just going to roll with that. So yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, we put a lot of rounds down range. We did a lot of shooting over the weekend. I had a really good time out at the range. Got sunburnt, but other than that, it was pretty good. Now we got a lot of work to do on getting some brass prepped, getting everything cleaned up. The Frankfurt Arsenal Impress has been returned to Matt over at Mr. Big Guns in Huntsville. So got that sent back to him. And now I got more space on the bench for the ultrasonic cleaner and the National Metallic little digital scale there. That thing's pretty handy. And you'll see a video coming up on actually this stuff right here. Some Lapua 6.5 Creedmoor brass versus Federal Premium 6.5 Creedmoor brass. And we use the National Metallic scale to kind of weigh everything. So that video will be coming up pretty soon. I'll show you the results of that. Shouldn't come as a surprise on what you think the results are going to be, given the price difference between the two, but still interesting stuff. So that's it. You know, a lot of time behind the trigger, a lot of rounds down range, and some pretty good results. More to work on though with the 308, man. We got a lot more to do. We got to load up some 6.5 Grendel also. Got to get that done. So we got a lot going on here, but that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget, go grab you a big Post-it note sheet thing, and then get like I told you before, go get those dots from Walmart. Man, these come in packs of like, I don't even know how many is in a pack, and they're dirt cheap. These are 1/4-inch dots. These are 3/4 dots. I mean, so if you're running low power scopes, those are good. If you're running like that Athlon Optics 6 to 24, that's perfect. I mean, the 1/4-inch dots are perfect for that application, to be able to provide a really small aiming point when you're shooting groups. So yeah, and it's extremely economical. I mean, you can shoot, you create a ton of targets versus going and buying something like this. You know, it's just more economical. Get a lot more out of it that way. But all right, hope you guys enjoyed it. This video ran way longer than I wanted it to, but you know, there was a lot that we had to talk through. A lot of the loads, what's worked, what hasn't worked, things we need to explore. So that's it. Hope you guys have a good one, and we'll catch y'all next time.